Hello YouTube. I've been watching a interesting video by Mindful Attraction, and this guy was talking about how to conceal your intentions based on the book 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. I have not watched. I have read this book 3 to 4 years ago, I guess, quite some time, and it sounds familiar because as a Scorpio moon with a lot of Scorpio stuff in your birth chart, you tend to conceal your intentions by default. And that conceal of your intentions, some people smell it and they don't trust you. And the other people find you intriguing because what are you trying to hide, right? And then the others have no clue. So for the ones who smell it, actually some people smell it and then they go like, you are not who you are, or why you're not opening up, or what are you trying to hide, what are your morals, what are your values, and all those questions and stuff. And you look at them and you're like, what are you talking about? Because when you're by default, when you're born in October, November, very cold time, you have that notion of being like a fall winter person. You're like the season, falling leaves, something is dying and then reviving, and it's dark and it's cold and it's somehow mysterious because you don't know what's next, and for how long it will stay that cold, or why is it that cold, not an average cold, for example. Why is it freezing, and all of these questions. So some people are afraid of that. They are threatened by the fact that you are secretive. And Robert Greene was talking about consciously concealing your intentions for your personal gains. Now that's bordering psychopathy and narcissism, because psychopathy is not psychopathy and narcissism, especially if they're combined. It's not only about having a knife and killing people, all that movies and all that. No, it is actually the reason, not the reason, but one of the reasons of trying to get ahead in life, sometimes in expense of other people. So that's where it gets wrong on the moral code. And one of the weapons to make that happen is by deceiving people, manipulating, uh, misleading, and all of the above. And all of that are actually they're morally lenient, and they're seen in society as evil. And this is why Robert Greene's book was seen as evil, because it did not tell you that this is bad, but he's telling you that this is useful. So for Scorpios, what's going on with them? Scorpios have this by default. They can manipulate, they can deceive, they can mislead, but if they're not that yet mature, they are not really aware of it. A lot of young Scorpios out there are doing it by default. They're just doing it. They put people on guilt trips, they charm people, they, I don't know, if the kid is from a dysfunctional family, he might do much worse, like use all the talents of that and hurt people, bully people in a very subtle way. It's not even the way fiery signs will do it, like go and yell at people, but he won't yell, but will make you hurt so bad. And that's poisonous, that's toxic, because you are entering somebody else's boundary and you're causing harm. So apparently the 48 laws of power are hinting a lot of Scorpio virtues. Um, I'm not sure if Robert Greene is Scorpio though. He's a researcher, so he can accumulate. But then, if you guys remember the statistics of the number one murderers are usually born in November, and that should hint on something. It's because in the eyes of science and psychology, that's psychopathy. In the eyes of horoscope, that's a trait. That's something that you were born with it. So that's where the conflict starts, because books are written about these things and they're seen as laws of power, while a lot of people out there like us were born with something like this, and we are trained not to use them because then we might hurt others. So the question is, what is the balance of this? In my opinion, okay, after reflecting about this for several times, actually the past few years, I started to say that use whatever it is, as long as you are not transcending or abusing someone else's boundaries. You are not making someone else enter a red zone, and you know it's a red zone, and you do not have the decency to at least hint that the other person is in the red zone, and use them on a measurable way. Professionally, you can use them, but not to abuse them. So I do see power tools as neutral. They're not bad, they're not good. Because if we see them as bad, then we become powerless. Someone else will do it onto us. And if we abuse it, then we become too powerful, and actually that's abuse of power, and we're gonna become big bullies in our own way, and that's not really beneficial, because extremes usually are a two-bladed sword. So this type of things are two-bladed sword. So what's going on with Scorpios? Why do they do this after all? Why? Just That's a good question. Why is it happening? Why is it naturally happening? Since for a 5-year-old kid to make a guilt trip for her girlfriend in the kindergarten, and just to have a sense of validation, or maybe a cookie, or it depends on whatever the objective that little kid is. So why is that happening for a Scorpio person? It's because of the fear. Because of fear of being hurt. Imagine all of those tools were kind of created psychologically because of fear, because of that sensitivity to being hurt. And since we are very sensitive, I'm gonna say it out loud, very sensitive, but at the same time we are very resilient. So imagine how that goes. We are so sensitive, so vigilant of the underpinnings of things, but we got some high tolerance. So it means that we might look very vulnerable, but then we're not really easy to crack, or hardly to crack. It depends how much the person knows. So intelligence is very, very important for us. The more you know, the more we lose control, and that means the more you have a higher chance of hurting us. And then you hurting us means that we gotta use some other ways to get even, and getting even means that we have to revenge, and if we have to revenge, it means we have to justify why we're gonna hurt you, and that's a lot of hustle and bustle. So the precaution tools became the laws of power tools, and it's funny because that became a book for professional getting ahead kind of stuff, professional development and life career development. So It's all about fear of getting hurt, fear of trusting someone, and then they go screw you up. And that's one of the reasons why hurting a Scorpio, no matter how much they say they're not going to, is something to rethink and double check. And the fact that the fact that I think you will meet them and you'll know the fact that they are very observant and they observe a lot of things. That means they also know a lot of things about you that you don't even know about yourself. Imagine, because um, we are so not only an analyst, like analyst and synthesis. We break it down and bring it back. So, because it's about death and rebirth, you see, death and rebirth. So we break you down and put you back, assemble you back, and that's what we mean with this is that your personality is broken down into shattered pieces and then it's assembled back. We basically in our head kill you and give birth to you again and again, and we try to understand you that way, because us understanding you means us protecting ourselves, and the more we protect ourselves, the more we're not gonna get hurt, and the more we don't get hurt, it means we at least have a little bit of trust, but not on you, but what we have understood about you. Do you see what I mean? We start to trust you because we start to trust the patterns and the underpinning psychometrics of you. So once we smell anomaly, our brain starts to signal like, hold on a second, maybe this person is not really what we thought they were. And then we question our own judgment. We go, hold on a second. Usually I'm very good at profiling people. Why did I miss this little sign? What's going on? And the investigative Scorpion starts to dig again, and you're on constant investigation. So it's all based on that feeling. We want to feel secure. We want to feel that you truly love us for who we are, and you are who you are with us. You are that naked to us, so that we can trust you and love you. And once we love you and we know that you're not gonna hurt us, then you're gonna have a hell of a ride for life. But that reward does not happen until we know exactly what we're dealing with. I hope this video helped, and see you in another video. Bye bye.